To manage interactions with content, Tealbussy has a feature called action blocks, which simplify the process and allow the creation of sophisticated behaviors without the need for complex programming languages. In this video, we will explore the principles of this feature. To begin, let's remove one of the keyframes from our scene and delete one of the two instances. Then, we'll adjust the size of the remaining one to fill the entire height of the screen, while maintaining proportional width and center it. Now, let's save our scene. Next, we go back to the scene menu and click on Save As to create a new scene from the one that is currently open. Let's reduce the height of our instance to half and adjust the width proportionally. Note that the numeric fields of the properties allow the use of simple mathematical operations. Therefore, simply divide the height by 2. Next, let's place the instance in the bottom right corner using the positioning buttons. Let's add an instance of a second image using the Picture Manager. Use its full size and position it 10 points from the corners. Let's do the same with the previous instance, moving it 10 points from the corners. Notice again the use of simple operations on the numeric fields of the interface. Now, let's save the scene and reopen the first one we edited. Select the only instance of this scene. Then, in the right interface, click the plus button next to Actions, and then the Trigger Actions button. This is the Tealbussy Action Block editing window. From here you can define the behavior of your movie based on the interactions it receives. Trigger actions for an instance are one of the simplest forms of interaction. Here, you will set what should happen when the instance is clicked or touched on the screen. See the small plus button? Click it to open a list of available actions. The available actions are grouped together. Note that there are several of these groups available in the list on the left. By clicking on a group name, you can see the related actions in the list on the right. Actions for loading movies or scenes are among the simplest available. Click on the first group, Movie and Scene Handling, and in the list on the right, click on the Load a Scene action. Then click the Create Action Block button. Several of the available actions require you to adjust parameters for them to work, and that's what we're going to do in the window that opened. The action we're using, Load a Scene, requires only one parameter, the scene to be loaded. Let's select our second scene from the Scene to Load list and finish creating the action by clicking on Set Action Block. We return to the Actions window, now with the scene load defined. Notice that in the block, in addition to the action name and the parameter we defined, there is also the number 1. The action can contain several blocks, which are executed in the order of the numbers that appear at the beginning. At the bottom of the block list, we see several buttons that can be used to adjust them, such as changing their order. Click on the block we created, and then on the Expand button. This way you can see more details about it whenever you want. With it still selected, click on the Adjust button. You will see that you can change the parameter information passed previously. After checking the action block, click the OK button to register the action in the instance's trigger. Save the scene and let's start a test. Since there's only one keyframe, the image appears static. When you click on it, you'll notice that the second scene loads. Let's open the second scene to create a return to the first one from there. In addition to an instance's trigger, actions can be applied at various points in the interaction. One of these is when a scene is loaded. To do this, in the Scene menu, click the Properties button and access the Start Actions tab. You will see an interface similar to that of Trigger Actions. Here, we're going to do something different. We're going to use a timed action so that we return to the first scene 3 seconds after it loads. To do this, select the Set a Timer action in the Timers group. This block requires 3 parameters. First, we need to name the timer. Let's call it Back to Home. Next, we need to understand the ticks of a timer. Timed actions happen at defined intervals, which in Tealbussy we call ticks, whose interval time must be given in milliseconds as the second parameter. The number of ticks to be executed is the third parameter of this block. Our case is quite simple. We only want one tick that happens 3 seconds, 3000 milliseconds, after the start of the action, so let's fill in these values and create the block. Several blocks allow for subsequent actions, such as timers. Click on the block to select it, and then on the Expand button. You will see that, in addition to the plus button to create a second block below, 2 others have appeared, on each tick and at end. The Nested Blocks feature allows for the creation of sophisticated interactions in Tealbousy. In our case, we don't need actions on each tick. We only need to load the other scene at the end of the timer's execution. So click the plus button in at end, and we will add our already known load scene action, pointing to the home scene. See how the expanded blocks look now. Click on Set Properties to register this change. Now let's save our scene and start a test. Notice that 3 seconds after it loads, we return to the home scene. There, by clicking on the instance, we return to that scene, and again, after 3 seconds, we go back to the home scene. In this video, we had our first contact with the actions in Tealbousy and saw how to use them to set the interactivity of our movies. There is a very wide range of actions available, ranging from simply loading a scene, through handling data as variables, to more complicated functionalities such as saving data to the cloud or sending information for remote processing. To delve deeper, consult the Tealbousy Scripting Actions Guide available on the tool's website.